For today's good question, Barbara says, in a recent article, we were told that the funding from the federal government intended for businesses and others hurt by the pandemic will now go to finance the building of Cardinal Run North Park. How can money intended for relief and lost businesses be used for a totally unrelated use? Well, programs like the Paycheck Protection Program and COVID tax credits were meant to help businesses. But the American Rescue Plan Act also sent billions of dollars to local governments, replacing money lost in the public sector because of the pandemic. The Department of the Treasury laid out how that money could be used, including renovating or building new parks. They even answer a similar question in the FAQ on treasury.gov. Quote, would investments in improving outdoor spaces like parks be an eligible use of funds? The Treasury says investments in public outdoor recreation spaces may be responsive to the needs of disproportionately impacted communities by promoting healthier living environments and outdoor recreation and socialization to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. City spokeswoman Susan Straub told me they have to follow federal rules in using that money. In addition to promoting healthier living, parks can also be funded under revenue replacement, which allows the city to use funds on services traditionally provided by a government. Mayor Gorton asked the council to fund design and improvements to Cardinal Run North using $10.1 million in federal rescue plan funds. In total, the city is spending $24 million in federal coronavirus relief on parks and park improvements. If you have a good question, you can email goodquestion@wkyt.com. And I'll see you on WKYT Mornings.